All right, let's get into it. You know, in the crypto world, everything's about being fast, being loud, and making a ton of noise. But for years, there's been this one project that's been, well, doing the complete opposite. It's called Pi Network, and its whole game has been about patience and, believe it or not, silence.
So that begs the big question, right? In a market that's all about hype, why in the world would you choose to be quiet? Is that a massive weakness, or is there something else entirely going on under the hood?
Well, here's the thing. This isn't some accident or a big delay. It's actually a deliberate strategy, a plan designed to basically flip the script on how you're supposed to launch a crypto project.
And this quote just sets the stage perfectly. We are not talking about a get-rich-quick scheme here. Nope. This is about building the architecture. You know, laying the foundation, brick by painstaking brick, way away from all the market noise.
So where does a building process like that even begin? Well, it starts by taking the first rule of every crypto launch and just tossing it right out the window.
Just think about it for a second. Almost every single new coin or token that pops up is totally focused on one thing: getting a price, getting listed on an exchange so people can start speculating. That's the entire goal from day one.
But Pi didn't do that. It had a completely different starting block. Before anyone even whispered the word value or exchange, the mission was to build a massive global community of real, actual human beings. And when you put the two approaches side by side, the difference is just stark. On one side, you have the usual model, early speculation, tons of marketing, and you almost always have to invest your own money. Then you have the Pi model. Grow the user base first, make it super easy to join with a phone, and this is the big one, no upfront investment required. It's just a totally different set of priorities.
Now, this whole people-first approach needs something most crypto projects just don't have: time. And that's led to the #1 criticism of Pi, that it's just too slow. But let's dig into why that slowness might actually be a feature, not a bug.
So what happens when you rush a project to the market? You get exactly what you'd expect: total chaos. You get economies built on sand, trading volume that's just bots talking to each other, not real people, and demand that just vanishes the second the hype dies down. Sound familiar? Yeah, we've all seen how that story ends.
So by taking its time, Pi's development phase becomes a tool to fix those exact problems. That long timeline gives them the room to verify identities, to filter out all the bots and fake accounts, and to try to ensure the coins are spread out more fairly. It's all about keeping the network genuinely human.
And here's the crucial point. From this perspective, the long wait isn't a sign of failure. It's a sign of control. It's the team keeping a tight grip on the integrity of the network before it ever gets exposed to the chaos of the open market.
This idea of control brings us to what's probably the most controversial part of this whole strategy, but it's also absolutely critical: mandatory identity verification, or what we call KYC.
The core belief here is actually really simple, but it's powerful. You just can't build a sustainable, long-term economy on a foundation of anonymous, unaccountable wallets. It's just not going to work. For value to be real, the people creating and exchanging it have to be real too.
So while a lot of people in crypto hear KYC and immediately think restriction, Pi frames it as a strategic play for credibility. The whole point is to build a network that, when it finally opens its doors to the outside world of regulators and businesses, isn't seen as some risky gamble. It's seen as a trusted, verified ecosystem from the jump.
So all of this, the focus on people, the slow pace, the verification, it's all serving one big goal. Think of it like this. It's like how early Amazon spent years and years just building warehouses and logistics, all the unglamorous stuff, before it even thought about massive profits. The goal is to build a functioning economy before you ever introduce a price.
This is the cycle we see over and over again, right? A project drums up a bunch of hype, that hype drives a price, but because there's no real utility or economy behind it, it almost always collapses, and the only ones who make out are the early speculators.
Pi is trying to completely reverse that. The idea is to first create use, build apps and services inside the ecosystem, marketplaces, social platforms, you name it. That real usage is supposed to generate organic demand from millions of users, and only then, after all of that, the sustainable value begin to emerge.
This whole philosophy is built around this really powerful idea called consensus value. And it's a pretty radical idea. It basically says the true worth of a currency shouldn't be decided by speculative traders and bots, but by the actual community of people that uses it.
So what drives it? Not market charts. It's people using Pi to buy goods and services from each other. It's developers building useful apps on the platform. It's the community basically agreeing among themselves what something is worth based on how useful it is inside their own economy.
So what does this all mean for the future? Well, the argument is that Pi isn't heading for a typical launch. It's approaching a transition phase, and believe me, that wording is very intentional.
This transition is defined as the moment a specific checklist is complete, the technology is rock solid, the rules of the game are clear, the huge majority of people are verified, and, most importantly, the ecosystem is already buzzing with real activity.
And this is the ultimate payoff for the entire strategy. If all those boxes are checked, the project won't need a huge marketing blitz or any artificial hype. The fact that a massive, verified, active digital economy even exists will be enough to start the conversation all by itself. Which leaves us with this final thought to chew on. The whole strategy suggests that if you're just sitting around watching price charts, you're going to completely miss what's being built. But by the time the rest of the world finally starts paying attention, all that quiet, foundational work will have already been done. The question is, will that foundation be strong enough to support whatever comes next?